Does anybody else have any good fisting?
Does anybody else have any good fisting? That's how you're gonna end that
Yes.
Hello and welcome to Saving People, Queering Things, the supernatural podcast where
Your mic wanted to cut. Your mic, when you got to really high, your mic wanted to cut out.
Okay,
I need to try to yeehaw again.
Let's do it one more time. Hello and welcome to Saving People, Queering Things, the supernatural podcast where yeehaw. That was worse.
No one made me promise I wouldn't laugh, but today we are pulling up to season 6, episode 18 of Frontierland.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, not all of us putting our hands over our mouths and ducking out of screen for you to do that.
That's
I was like, I can't. I'm gonna laugh anyway. If I'm also staring at you while you say this, I'm there's no way. I'm not gonna be able to help myself.
I couldn't look to the right where my view of y'all is. I had to look only at the script and couldn't handle it.
Anyway, I am your host, August. My pronouns are they, them.
I'm Noah, pronouns he, him. Yeehaw.
And as per Noah's pre-written script,
Twice rewritten.
From down under, Beth, and I brought Jamie too.
Wait, sorry. One more time. I didn't get it clean. I talked in front of it. One more time. I'm sorry.
Got our track.
I can't tell if you're genuinely asking me that or if you are just trolling me for shit.
No, I truly am. I'm sorry.
Okay. And as per Noah's pre-written script, I am the thunder from down under, Beth, and I brought Jamie too.
Noah's trolling of our guests with stranger and stranger intros continues, folks.
Oh, I love it.
It's so good.
I've done my country proud today.
Surely everybody already knows who you guys are, the co-stars of Driver Picks the podcast. So, I mean, why not have some fun with it?
No, I love it.
They're always so excited to have the two of you back.
Truly.
It's literally always so exciting to be here. To be totally honest.
This is the 5th season we've done this, right?
Yeah.
5th season we've done this. 5th
Since
season in a row.
2.
Such a good excuse to just spend 4 hours bullshitting and then 2 hours doing what we're actually supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Just for the record, we did hop on this call 2 hours ago. So
yeah, more than 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
But now that we're actually recording, we should, talk about the episode. But before we talk about the episode, my question for each of you is, if you could propose one time travel episode for Supernatural, what would it be? Where are you sending them?
Oh, okay. Here's the problem. I have an answer to this. I have a really genuine, sincere answer to this, but Jamie and Noah will not understand it.
Okay.
So for everyone who does know, given timeline events that we're made aware of in the episode Lily Sunder Has Some Regrets, I would love to see a time travel episode of that kind of nature, Sam put in that sort of scenario. Oh my goodness, I would pay, Jennifer, if you're listening, I would pay so much money for that. But
yeah, that's a good answer.
Just old timey.
The source of many fanfic.
That's my genuine sincere answer. My less genuine sincere answer is I feel it'd be really funny to see them I don't know, in the Ice Age or something, just something way back when,
mammoths.
Put them around with dinosaurs and just be what are you gonna do?
Okay,
real life Jurassic Park.
A dinosaur episode would go so hard on the show. Holy shit. Jamie?
I think my first instinct, for absolutely no reason, it is probably Regency era.
Ooh,
I think if they forced Dean into Regency era and then made him pull some Pride and Prejudice level shit. and just have like Cass kind of losing his mind in the corner.
Bonus points if they do Pride and Prejudice and zombies.
Yes.
Right. That's
Oh.
yeah. There's
Perfectly
your
queued up.
monster.
That's the episode description, Noah, actually.
Right there.
And if it's done by Carver, then you could also have Cass doing like the Mr. Darcy out of the lake scene.
Oh, it'd be so good.
Oh, yes.
So good.
Guys, I think actually we just should write this episode.
The one. This
Maybe-
is the winner.
Maybe that's what this episode is. We just write this episode out and we ignore this Frontierland episode. No, just kidding, because this episode was really fun.
Yeah, I'm like, this episode's fun. I still want to talk about this episode, but I also
Tune in
kind of
for
want
the
to talk about
bonus
that
episode later this season where we write this fanfic episode.
I love it.
Pride and Prejudice and zombies.
But if I had to pick a time travel episode, I would have to go super far into the future. You guys went to the past. I'm going to the future, and I want to see the boys going into space. As
Let me
Jamie and I
ask you not.
predicted,
I was
Ages
just going to
ago.
fucking say.
I want to see their journey to Saturn. I want to see the fight around Jupiter. Let's have it out. Let's get the boys on a spaceship, fight some ghosts, fight some zombies, whatever it looks like up there. I'm there for it.
It's giving Doctor Who.
Yes.
Like-
All of these suggestions are giving Doctor Who. When
Let's
you
get
said
some Super Who in here.
What I will say about that is it's so funny to me that you bring that up because that's actually a joke from Driver Picks, not queering things. So do your listeners even know what you're talking about there?
If you don't, go back and listen to the Driver Picks Up crossover episode that Jamie and Beth and I recorded. That was
genuinely forgot which show that was on.
19 episodes ago at this point on y'all's show. 20,
Yeah,
25.
something like that.
Who knows?
Yeah.
End of season 5. End of season
End of
5.
season 5. You got
That's
this.
easier to find.
The Kripke recap.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was sandwiched between the second last and the final episode of the 5th season.
Beautiful. It was a great episode.
Very fun.
I left you guys alone for 1 fucking minute.
and,
and we
and,
went to space.
and Supernatural is now set in the
On
stars.
Yeah. We've only gotten the one future jump on this show so far, and it wasn't far enough for my tastes. So let's go a little bit farther.
That's amazing. I also think future would be really interesting. But I'm talking like not super far future. I'm talking like far, but not like I'm talking like 100 years. Like enough technology has changed that it's kind of unrecognizable to them, but enough is it's not like everything has changed. They're like, oh, it's like the Star Trek sort of experience of like
Ooh.
of like it's a Star Trek sort of vibe of a universe. Like
if Star Trek was set on a single planet, Earth.
yeah, no, what I'm trying. Oh, sorry, I'm explaining this super badly.
It's fine. You
no,
just picked the
in,
one
like-
series that is constantly in space.
No, I was meaning more in the way that Star Trek does technology, and like
Oh, okay.
Star Trek made in the 60s was predicting future technology that ends up being kind of like still recognizable to like what we have now.
Okay,
And
okay.
I'm kind of thinking of like Sam and Dean being in a scenario where they're like, wait, people are communicating on things that are kind of like phones, but they're also weird and different. So them just being a little off kilter.
Okay.
A little like I think it'd be funny to put them in a futuristic world where like clothing has changed a bunch and they just stand out.
Yes.
That one episode of Doctor Who with Trampoline Lady.
Ooh. Cassandra.
Yeah.
And
We
they're
love
like,
that.
and now for the famous Earth ballad Toxic by
By Britney
Britney
Spears.
Spears.
Yes, that's what I want. I want them just running into things from their part timeline, but like in a future where everyone talks about it super weirdly.
Like it's
Yeah.
ancient and a
Yeah.
revered cultural moment.
I want
There's-
someone seeing them in a flannel and just being like, "Whoa, these
So
earth fibers!"
retro.
Like,
At this point, if in this future Sam and Dean have actually become kind of famous for saving the world all of the times they've saved the world, and so people are like, you look kind of like, and they're kind of getting like treated like Jesus, but they're not Jesus.
yes. This is this
You
is
look
what I
kind of
want.
like the statues we have in our town square.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Like
weird?
I learned about you I think I learned about like you in school.
I actually adore this.
Yeah, this is good. This is good.
Now that you've met all of us, it is time to catch you up before we jump into this week's episode. So if you haven't watched Supernatural recently, here is what you've missed on the road so far. Oh, hi, honey. You want to come say hi?
We just talked about Star Trek.
Here's Kirk.
He said, cut, copy, paste.
She's like, now it's my computer. Hi.
Oh, the road so
Oh no, she's gonna sit on the computer. Hi, come down.
7U.
My goodness, Kurt, that is such a big opinion. Can you back it up with any peer-reviewed sources?
I don't think so. Doesn't
Hi,
seem
do you-
like it.
Okay,
Their
where are you
peer-reviewed
going?
sources, their butthole, which they showed us just a minute ago.
And now she's trying to climb in. There's like, my desk has a bunch of like boxes underneath because it goes pretty deep, and she's now climbing in among them. Hopefully, she won't get stuck.
In among us?
No, I refuse. No.
Okay. Wow.
I hear too much about that at my workplace.
You hate Among Us. I get it.
There's a
No,
bear.
it's just very popular with the children.
The amount of tweets I've seen that are like, you wouldn't last an hour in the asylum. They raised us, and it's a screenshot of Among Us.
No, that was 2 seconds ago. That doesn't count.
So
It was 2 seconds ago.
The number of variants I've seen of the fucking opening shot of the house from the pilot of Supernatural under the
Yes.
Or like shots of like the first fanfic of like the first Destiel fic, or like
Ooh.
fucking, my
How
favorite
can you
one-
track down the first Destiel fanfic?
the
By
date
looking at the first one was published like
2 hours.
I think it's after.
it was 2 hours after 401ed.
Wow.
Yeah, they were fucking quick about that. And
That's
it's like,
impressive.
You know, people work quick, but Destiel writers work quicker.
You right.
yeah, the variant that took me out was, you wouldn't have lasted an hour in the asylum that they raised me, and then it was just Misha's "You're not crazy" tweet. I was, oh god.
Oh. So let's catch up. If you have not watched Supernatural recently, here is what you've missed on the road so far. Beth, are you ready to recap all of Supernatural up to this point?
I have come pre-prepared today. I feel like I
Wow.
probably will not live up to the impeccable standards that have been set by the people who've come before me, but I will give it this.
We've had such varied situations before now. It's okay. However you do your best, we appreciate it.
All right, I'm gonna count you in. 3, 2, 1, go.
Previously on Supernatural, Season 1, Dad's missing. Season 2, Dad's dead. And Sam has magic powers now. Season 3, Dean is coasting down the very literal and very metaphorical highway to hell. 4, it's the Gay Angel show now. Side note, Sam's addicted to demon blood. Season 5, Sam gets eaten by a sinkhole and also their brother is there. Season 6, Dean's POV, The Season, featuring their grandpa, Sam Sr. And that's what you've missed Supernatural.
Fucking gorgeous. 10 out of 10.
Sorry, Beth. You were like, this is not. What about
Yeah.
that was like not.
What was that humility? The fake humility you had beforehand? And like you knew you had a banger recap coming. Like what the hell?
Really hard.
You should have chucked a Yui and done it all backwards.
Yes, no, a use our in joke.
See, now
The
you
one that
can't cut
wasn't
the part.
recorded.
I don't know that I'll ever do that better than I just did it. So I'm really glad that I got to do it.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
All right, Jamie, you ready to follow that up with an episode recap?
Not even slightly. I did ensure that I made my own notes.
Okay. So here to combat, we've got Beth's notes versus Jamie's notes. Which one is better? We'll find
We're
out.
not competitive enough.
Fight.
And they were like, do you want to play? I'm like, no, I have terrible hand-eye coordination and I'm also incredibly competitive. It's a bad combination.
Wait, for which game?
For table tennis.
Ooh.
You just have an
Somehow I
animal-
feel like, regardless if you have terrible coordination, you would absolutely destroy at table tennis. Like,
I feel like you've never played table tennis because hand-eye coordination is a major
essential.
factor.
Yes, no, but I think that, okay, maybe I'm thinking Jamie would absolutely destroy me because I also have terrible hand-eye coordination, and I think Jamie's more competitive. I think that's the reason Jamie would win. Sheer willpower, I think Jamie would just like.
My family had one of those attachments that you can attach to any table and, put a net up on it.
Of course.
Like the net, like
Yeah.
you can just
Yes, we had this huge dining table because there's, 9 of us. And so we would just
Yeah,
put it
yeah,
up
we're-
every once in a while and just play some table tennis back and forth. And I got really frustrated with my siblings because none of them could, hold up a game past 2 or 3 volleys against me. And it was really frustrating. So
you're just so good at table tennis.
what I'm trying to say is, Jamie, let's go. You and me, table tennis. When's it going to happen? We're just a couple of continents away.
I was just going to say, like, the international competition of table tennis is now just Jamie. We'll find an online game where you can actually play off against each other. We'll figure it out.
I just gotta
we
find
figured
my
out how to
family's
do
knee.
most things through
Mhm.
despite the
Yeah.
distance. We
Exactly.
can figure out how to do a sport that's very much in-person activity.
You and KJ's like love for a sporting podcast is just going to devolve into the Pod Squad's like sports tournament. It's esports, and you guys are just commentating. I think that's actually phenomenal
Honestly,
content.
That's so good.
Honestly, sign me up.
If we set up a bracket and whoever's like the
Yes.
first two out are the commentators for the rest of the competition.
No, you're not taking this from me. I just got offered the role of commentator. You are not taking
Okay,
this
that's
from
what I'm
me.
saying is you
I'm gonna
already admitted that you and Beth would be the first two out. Like
I'm throwing the competition.
Yeah,
I'm throwing
okay.
it. Warning
Beth.
you now. I gotta commentate.
Yeah, okay.
That's,
That's fair.
Sorry, no, I got ruined. About
No,
that.
what's the one game that could be equivalent to table tennis that we could do virtually?
What's that one where it is essentially table tennis. Did you guys ever play like on the Wii? They had like that series of arcade games like Wii Play or something.
Oh yeah.
Wii Sports?
I feel like, you know, the one where it was like this and you had the ball.
Don't come into this conversation bringing the first fucking video game in existence, Pong. What? What are you talking about? That's the first video game.
I Wii thing.
This is not a Wii thing.
Game,
That
I
was
know.
like a Nintendo 12 type of game. Like what?
You know
Beth,
what? I'm here to have a good time, and honestly, I'm feeling so attacked right now.
Fair.
I'm saying
Fair.
we should play Pong.
I like that you brought up the Wii, in which they have an actual table tennis game, and you said, "What's that one where it's like the Wii table tennis thing, but instead the sides, you know, it's like the sides, and you have to put that thing that goes back." Come on, Beth.
Noah, I'm so tired. I'm so sorry.
Anyway,
Okay. Jamie, you ready to recap
I
our little
guess.
cowboy episode? Now that we've taken some of the pressure off.
I've been humbled.
I'm too heated.
Are you ready, Jamie?
I guess so. I guess I'm going to have to be.
3, 2, 1, and go.
So basically, they need to kill the mother of everything, which means they need Phoenix acid. And they know that Phoenix ashes exist in the past. So now they're in the past. Dean is very clean. Now he's the sheriff. They're brutalizing women for man pain. Kaz is getting stabbed, except for now Bobby's getting fisted. Now they're back. Oopsie doops, missed the ashes. Good omens called, and they want their future delivery plot line back. And we've also just got an entire thing where I did that way too fast.
It's just all of it.
And I got to go.
You said the Bobby's getting fisted, and everyone in the chat said,
I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard. Oh, it's
Jesus.
It's not that we don't ever make these jokes on this show. It's just that I just didn't see it coming.
Did not see it coming.
Cass got stabbed too, and Bobby is getting fit. And the fucking whiplash off that.
Just kept rolling. You didn't pause on that moment at all.
Not
You just
at all.
kept going to the next plot point.
I was too scared to look at the timer and see how much time I had left. And I thought I was running out of time. So I was like, I can't pause here for effect. I'm just going to keep going.
I actually don't know what said after that point.
You
I
also have
blanked
no
out.
idea. You could have said nothing after that point. I didn't.
You
pick
could
it
have
up.
just sat there and stared at the camera, and we would all have been not paying attention to it the entire time. I'm not gonna lie, had that in my notes, but I didn't expect it to come in this early. 10 out of 10 recap, Jamie.
Yeah.
Much applause.
Yeah. Now we are going to pick some music to go along with this episode. This is this week's episode mixtape. What y'all got?
I'm doing this one.
Okay, that's all right. We watched it together and
We discussed this ahead of time.
this ahead of time.
Ooh, look at you.
Expectantly. Is that the idea?
Your name's there on the screen.
Oh, my name's there. I'm famous.
These guys are just professional. That's
I
what it
mean, you're not the Thunder from Down Under, but you are first in the mixtape. So
Fine, I'll just go there.
episode is just going to be us laughing. I'm so sorry. Ooh.
it's not my fault. Beth read it out. So
To be fair, I was also the one who suggested the line change. So I can't get too offended.
Yeah.
No, my pick for the mixtape this week was "I Hate It Here" by Taylor Swift. Specifically for the line, like the 1830s, but without all the races. I'd hate it. Nostalgia is a monster.
wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good choice. It's a good call.
10 out of 10.
And the reason why we had to confer what we were going to say before Jamie answered is I said, "Who's Afraid of Little Old Me?" also by Taylor Swift. From the POV of the Phoenix, he is levitating off the gallows and coming down the street, and they really should be afraid of him.
Mhm.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They really, really, really should.
Now,
Amazing.
I'm afraid that I'm breaking the stereotype here by not picking one of Taylor's new songs, even though there's 31 of them. I mean, I guess 29 of them to pick from now.
We got time. We got like 11, like 10 and a half seasons left. You're gonna have plenty of time.
Yeah, we got
I mean,
time.
she'll probably have put out 7 new albums by that point, but like,
I put it at a third song selection, which was also Taylor Swift that we did consider.
Okay, sorry. At this point, you have to tell us what that third song was.
Cowboy Like Me.
It seems like the obvious one, but
Okay,
thematically,
yeah.
the other
Yeah.
two.
no, I'm going back to my initial pick because that was my original pick, and then I changed it, and I am going
Yeah.
back to it.
Okay, never
I'm
mind.
going back to it.
Shit.
International brainwaves are being
So
shared.
now I'm gonna be the only one who's not picking Taylor Swift.
Oh, Noah, can you really do us like that?
Call an audible, Noah. What can you pull one out? Or if you have a different one that's good.
Sorry to put you in this position.
Fine, it's fine, it's fine.
This is like the excursion bus all over again.
Like, just tell us you hate Taylor Swift and I'm like,
Wow, Jamie. Okay. You know what? No, I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, stick to your guns.
I'm going to be the only person this episode that doesn't pick Taylor Swift, I guess. But I'm gonna stick with my country roots because it's a Western episode. So we gotta pick some Western artist. And so I had to pick Waking Up Dreaming by Shania Twain, which is technically a Western song. So it works out.
That's a good pick.
Shania
That's a good pick. We'll forgive you for it not being Taylor
It really
Swift.
tracks with how Dean wakes up to this whole reality, and he's having the best time of his life. He's loving it. He's making all the jokes that he can, talking about, this is my boy, Clint Eastwood.
and you know what? Shania Twain was kind of Taylor Swift before Taylor Swift was Taylor Swift, and that is like Taylor Swift's song Clara Bow. So
Thank you.
So it's all full circle.
It
It's
all
all
tracks.
connecting here.
It's Shania with an S and Twain with a T, and then you reverse that, and it's Taylor Swift. Oh, shit.
yes, versus ST, you know, like two
Mhm.
putting them together.
I've connected the dots.
Do you guys want to do some insane Bethany lore right now? It may not make,
Absolutely.
but it's Shania Twain relevant. So when I was a kid, and I'm talking like little, like not even walking yet, apparently my mum has always told me whenever Shania Twain came on the radio, whatever surface was available to me, I would pull myself up on it and I would do a little jig. I would dance. I would be wriggling around. She's like, you had the biggest grin on your face the entire
Oh,
song.
that's so cute.
Literally only Shania Twain is the only artist I would dance for. She's like, if you were on one side of the room, you would crawl to the other side of the room to get to a chair or a table or the couch to stand up and wiggle your butt. And
That's adorable.
Okay,
Apparently it's just like every time.
question. Do you still do that for Shania Twain? Do you still represent? Do you still dance the
Look,
same way?
I will absolutely go ham on Man, I Feel Like a Woman,
Okay.
but I'm not always dancing off on a table.
Okay, well,
Really?
Pros and
Sometimes
cons.
you sit upright without a table to sit on. Sometimes. Occasionally you just fall down and get a mild concussion.
Yeah, look.
occasionally. August,
yeah.
what about you?
As stated earlier, I'm going to go with Cowboy Like Me by Taylor Swift.
Whoa.
Exception.
Just fitting the vibes.
Couldn't have picked it better if I was Beth or Jamie.
Sometimes it's just refreshing to be reminded that peer pressure does in fact work.
It really, really does. Yeah, let's move right along from our mixtape to this week's hunt. Today we are pulling up to season 6, episode 18, Frontierland, through the theme of vices.
Okay.
What do you all think?
I love a good time travel episode. I can't complain about any sort of time travel episode, no matter which show it's in. I'm a big Doctor Who fan. We get it. And going back to the Western times, which is my Texan roots, we love it. We love to see some cowboys.
Thought you would like this episode a lot,
It was
actually.
good. It was a great time. 1861, a wild time to pick because that's just before the Civil fucking War. Like, what? Okay.
So when we did this episode, we had Hannah from Raising Tradition come on and chat about it with us.
Beautiful.
And he made a really interesting observation, which is that they really did not do their research when they picked.
Oh,
Oh.
absolutely. No, there's no historical accuracy in this episode.
Not at all.
Apparently, at think she said Wyoming didn't even exist during the time period they picked.
Is that where they were?
Do the bare minimum.
8 years, I'm pretty sure is what she said. It was either that or down, one of the two. And then she said something about like the timeline of Samuel Colt being dead already or something. Like it's totally whack. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
So maybe the headcanon that we need to establish is that it was actually about 10 years earlier and they weren't in Wyoming.
yeah.
So let's change the location to a random location. Let's say northern Texas. Oh, wow, crazy. And it was sometime in the 1850s because it was pre-Samuel Colt's death and an adequate representation of a country not quite in turmoil, because we didn't hear a single thing about how, wow, the North is really infringing on our rights, which those rights were really fucking fucked up. So like we're not supporting the South, we're supporting the North, obviously. Anyway,
how dare they encroach on their rights to own other people as slaves? Like
exactly.
Jesus.
Exactly. We're on the North side.
So rude sometimes when people just go, hey, you know how you're keeping people as slaves? Yeah, that's maybe not great.
Maybe it's not. You know what? I think it's definitely not.
Slavery is bad.
Like, what are we, Britain with Australia?
What is this episode, you guys?
I'm sorry.
They're not doing this anymore.
There's a lot of just historical, like what, like there's when Samuel Colt, when he's talking to Sam and Sam says you're like, or he said, Sam says you're a hunter, and he says retired. The concept of retirement, this concept doesn't exist.
Wouldn't have existed at this point.
He invented new terminology, actually. He is a linguistic revolutionary.
But not just that, there's like two people later on who are like, I'm a what? You're a what? Like, they don't know what the word hunter means.
Which also doesn't make any sense.
Makes
like,
no sense.
That's a normal, that one's not hard to figure out, buddy.
It's
that one's not hard to figure out.
way before
Okay,
this time period.
Implications of what they mean by hunter. But you still know what a hunter is.
It's not, it doesn't take that much to like make that logical leap. Like,
Uh-huh.
we talk about logical inferencing, like it's a logical inference to
It's
be like,
a major inference.
it's not even that difficult.
Like, okay, you hunt things and you know about the supernatural existence. Maybe you hunt the supernatural. Okay, yeah, easy.
Oh, that's a really cool concept. Noah, you should make a TV show about that.
You know what? Actually, okay, let's get started, guys. Do you know anyone named Eric Kripke? I think that might help.
No, his name rings a bell.
To be fair though, hear me out here. Wild fan cast. Jensen Ackles is the main character.
Oh my god. Okay, you know what?
Do you think you could get him?
I don't think I could, but let's try.
I don't know. You just gotta pitch it. You just gotta pitch it right to him. You know,
You know
he's
what?
got a certain type of.
If we tell him
project
that
director
in
for him,
3 seasons he'll meet his angel boyfriend, then maybe he'll be into it.
Yeah.
You just gotta tell him it's gonna have some real brooding gay vibes to it, but like on the down low.
Okay.
Yeah. Then he'll be, you know.
And let him pick between which main character he wants to be.
For his sibling, maybe we pick someone who's like crazy tall, like even taller than Jensen is, and like sort of has moose vibes.
Really specifically notable hair, I'm thinking.
What was
I
that
think
guy
it's
in
like long
Gilmore
flowing
Girls?
locks.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we get that guy.
Guys, I think we can't have this recorded. Like, we need to protect this.
I think let's get some
gonna be cut
copyright
from the
issues on this.
As an insane aside, do you know what I literally learned like 3 days ago?
What's
do you know
that?
Eric Kripke's wife is named Deanna?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no,
I
that's
did
the same.
not.
I didn't know that either. I just like was on Tumblr and I was like, excuse me, and then I googled it to make sure I wasn't being gaslit. And yeah, no, her name's Deanna and she has Dean's birthday.
See, what's funny is not the fact
doesn't know how to have a separation.
Learned something on Tumblr and it was actually accurate.
I know, that happens.
Did you know that when you wash your hands, the soap breaks down the water molecules so that it gets smaller and it takes out all the germs in your hands? Did you guys know that?
Sorry. I don't, and I'm confused.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you.
This version, there's a massive Tumblr misinformation post that explained that that's how hand washing works.
Okay, cool.
Because that is not at all how hand
Yeah,
washing
because
works.
that's where you were losing me.
You need to know the reference was happening.
Oh my god, did you guys hear about that like disease Alexandra's genesis where you have 2 different colored eyes and naturally no body hair?
Naturally.
Guys, we really, I'm sorry. I know I'm the one who derails, but like
You're so right. Okay.
Where are we? Where are we going? What's happening?
Wait, sorry. Bobby only watched Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a point that we can reconvene on. And
I think
so excited.
of all the shows to watch.
Any Star Trek, and I need you guys to explain this to me because these references have always gone over my head.
okay, so okay.
August, this is you. I defer.
You're gonna help me with this one now.
I just started Deep Space Nine.
I haven't watched all of Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine is one of the later Star Trek shows. It's an odd choice to have been the only one you watched.
Yeah. Very odd.
Especially considering Bobby's age. Like, that's what's weird about this is like Deep Space Nine came out in the 90s.
So
like
only like 14, 15 years before this episode happens, quote unquote.
Like fully like 20 years before this episode.
We were in the 2009.
2011, Sam says.
2011.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're right.
Almost
20 years.
Almost 20 years. Almost 20 years. But like, yeah, like Bobby would have been the right age to watch earlier
20s.
show. So anyway, that part's just kind of strange.
Okay.
But like, so Deep Space Nine is one of the Star Trek shows. It's set like entirely on like a space station, or for the majority of the show, which gives it kind of a different feel. It's less space exploration. There's more like politics and like a lot of really interesting social commentary happening. It's really good. It's very, very good Star Trek
racial integration stuff
had its
happening.
First like black
lead.
like captain lead character.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's fantastic. Like,
it's so wacky
great
too.
that Bobby's seen it.
They don't make any reservations about how far they go.
Yeah, it was making a lot of political commentary in the 90s that was very connected to what was actually happening in the 90s.
Whereas every other Star Trek show was about one ship that went to many different locations and interacted with so many different other species and races and cultures. And this is one set in a specific place that has so many of those same interactions in the one place. Very outside of the norm for Star Trek.
Yeah, very, very. With definitely still the same underlying like vision and values of Star Trek, but like in a very new kind of different way.
Yeah.
What Dean is referencing when he says we'll Star Trek for this bitch which is I would like that tattooed on my arm.
Yes.
That's also known as like it's very gay. It's a very gay movie. It's the fourth movie basically.
This is like a Porky's 2 kind of situation where it's like
this is very much a Porky's 2 kind of situation.
Gayest one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he chose the gayest one. The original crew of the Enterprise, they steal a starship and they end up on Earth and they save some whales.
Space whales, right?
Space whales. Leonard Nimoy directed it. There's a lot of very, very like homoerotic sort of like scenes with them. There's a beautiful camping scene. There's like it's very good.
It's that good shit.
It's that good shit. It's the best of the Star Trek movies, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of people's opinion.
Whoa! Of the classic Star Trek movies.
Of the classic Star. I'm talking of the classic original series timeline movies.
Into
I talk about them separately.
Kicks ass.
I mean,
I'll defend that one till I die.
This is a different conversation.
You're right.
Because then I'm gonna have to bring Brianna
on topic for more than 5 minutes.
We'll postpone that until the Star Trek podcast that you will inevitably start.
One day, I'm gonna have to do it.
Yep.
But like the fact that Dean's like, this is the reference I will make.
It's a choice reference.
It's such a good reference. Because like the whole idea of like we're gonna steal a ship and we're gonna go and travel back in time, because like that's the thing in this movie is they do travel back in time to save these whales, because these whales can communicate
through space waves, right?
Yeah, they can communicate. Well, and they can communicate with a probe that's basically going to like destroy the Earth. It's sort of the like simple way of saying it.
So you got to save the whales so they can stop the probe. And
and so they got to go back in time and save the whales.
Yeah, okay.
Which is why they end up going to save the whales in like the 80s, like in, the 80s America, which is just very, very funny. They go to an aquarium and talk to the whales. It's pretty funny.
I do think it says a lot about Bobby that the only Star Trek series that he watched was the one where it's one location that provides a safe space to all these different areas. Whereas Bobby has settled down in an area and provides a safe space to all these hunters, specifically his 2 boys, but also R.I.P. Rufus. And
that is a fascinating observation.
I love that read. And actually that is like really nicely leads into something that I really find fascinating about this episode, which is the fact that when Cass is injured, his immediate like safe space to go to is Bobby's.
Yes.
Like, that's where he goes. So like, yeah, that ties in perfectly. And especially if you're thinking like a broader space theme, like the celestial being like the safest place that I could go right now in the entire universe is actually just this man's house in Sioux Falls.
Yeah,
On Earth.
and as
Like,
actually, and no matter what else has been happening, no matter how like absent I've been or what's going on, I know that if I show up here, they'll help
I'll be
me.
taken care of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like interesting considering everything with Cass right now, like is super interesting happening. We got to talk about Dean's cowboy fetish.
Okay.
Yes.
We've been known about that since changing channels, right? That was the first time that it really came on board with Dr. Sexy.
Yes.
Yeah. The fact that Sam is aware of it.
Sam is so aware of it. Sam wishes he was less aware of it, I think.
Sam is like, you have a cowboy fetish and you're making it everyone's problem.
Yes.
And I'd like you to stop, actually.
And he never does.
At what point did he just dress Cass up in cowboy shit? Like,
It's got to happen at some
that's
point.
the inevitable end point, isn't it? Like, that's
be.
the best thing I'll read into it. Like, I feel like it's a straight line. It's like they've described it as a fetish here, so at some point he has to dress Cass up like as a cowboy. Otherwise, they're not giving us the queer baiting of it all.
You're right. You're so right. I think it's also important to point out that one of them says, even the monkey movies, and then Sam says, especially the monkey movies, when the angels have referred to humans as poorly evolved monkeys, and maybe that plays into the reverse role of it all.
I'm so glad that you understood that reference better than I did, because I also think it's super interesting this episode that Dean specifically says to that guy who the Phoenix ends up shooting, the last of the 3 guys that he kills. He says to him, I'm just asking you to, or I'm telling you to play your role. And I was like, those out of Dean's mouth? Oh boy, that's some hypocrisy.
That was a jump scare kind of moment for me. I was like, what? I was like, excuse you. Since when have you ever fucking done that? Also, you are time traveling right now. Pretty sure that probably goes against your role. Probably.
Maybe.
Absolutely. Once they do travel back, right before they travel back, I was really proud of Dean whenever he put on his outfit and he was getting all ready and he put Sam in his outfit. And then Sam's like, what are you wearing? Like a blanket? And Dean's like, it's a serape. Like, get your shit together. Like, get your head out of your ass. It's a serape. Let's go. And then as soon as they make it back there, somebody's like, what are you wearing? And he takes it off and he's like, okay, I guess I fucked up. It's
this is the wrong place and time.
It's not quite enough Tex-Mex. He went too far north. That's on him. But I'm really proud of him for trying.
If it was somewhere else better, like maybe Texas.
If he had, then he would have nailed it.
I was just gonna say, I love that Dean is so committed to like the costume of it all, and I mean, it's so in character for him, like to be so excited about it. One thing that I do think is really interesting is Jamie and I have talked ad nauseum about how we find that Dar tends to mischaracterize Dean probably outside of the After School Special. One thing I thought was interesting about this episode was that I felt like Dean was very in character, but I felt that every single person around him had an opportunity to bully him and they took it. Like he
so
bullied so much this episode for just like being himself, and I was like, this is really interesting to me personally.
It's like whenever the writers give Dean an opportunity to like have a silly fun time and just like lean into like a sillier element of his personality, like I really like cowboys, everyone around him relentlessly mocks him for it. Like this man does not do things for fun, like ever.
Like, excuse me, where's the performance that I'm used to you providing me, where you don't like fun silly things and you're only a big macho man with a gun? Like, how dare you have side interests?
Like talk about like filling your role. Like everyone is like, wait a second, this is not the role we've placed you in, so we're gonna mock you for it. I do appreciate that Dean just sort of like there are other times in the show when that happens and he backs off of whatever fun thing. This episode he doesn't. He just kind of ignores them. Like I do appreciate that he's like, no, you're gonna make fun of me. I'm gonna have more outfit changes, actually.
Yes.
What I find interesting is the fact that the line "You're too clean" is delivered in the same way they give them the line like "What are you like antiques?"
It's literally like,
it's like the same tonality from like the.
I didn't even notice that.
When we were watching it, I literally turned to Jamie and I was just like, it's like, oh, is he, clean? Like, it's got that like limp wrist kind of energy.
Just for the listeners at home, we all did the, hand folded over the other, like, is he queer?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The delivery is really funny. But I also think just on the costuming, I know like Dean obviously like went so out of his way to like try and fit in, as misguided as he was. Like he's like, yeah, we gotta look like we're not spacemen, And then Sam rocks up with a digital watch, a mobile phone, and a zipper jacket. I was like,
what the hell? How did that get past Dean's?
Work.
Doesn't make any sense.
What's weird to me is that nobody seems to really clock Sam on it at any point.
Yeah.
But his clothes stand out so
there.
much compared to Dean's. Like the only thing about Dean's clothes that really stands out is the level of detail in them because they've got all of the trimmings, etc. And also the fact that they're brand new, so they're squeaky clean.
Yeah, they're clean and look kind of like well off compared to everyone else.
So I wouldn't be surprised if everyone didn't just think he was loaded. Like he's like a prissy little rich boy who's like run away because he wants to like.
Thus the mockery. Where
Sam
Sam looks like he's barely trying to blend in.
Yeah.
Like so many details of his outfit, you're like, wow, that's very clearly not from this era.
Yeah. But that's not what they comment on. No. It's Dean and his level of cleanliness.
I think it's more a statement about Sam's resistance to Dean's efforts to make him fit in, And Sam's like, well, what if I do like this one? It's a little bit nicer. And Dean's like, I guess.
Really interestingly, like Sam, I don't know, and I'm trying to think of like the theme of this episode that we were looking at, which is vices. Yep. Like Sam is very much, we've talked about this before, Sam's super all or nothing. And like when it comes to a vice, like Sam's like, either I'm working or I'm having fun. Dean's like, well, I'm always working, so like I may as well be having fun. Like Sam's like, this is a job. I can't lean into any of the funness of the fact that we're traveling in time because that's not how Sam has fun.
I really like that assessment. It holds up like down the track. Yeah.
Okay,
I think we've seen.
Not to derail at all, but you guys said about how like Sam's resisting like the changes that Dean's trying to make, and the only thing that popped into my head in that moment is that "This Is Me" by Demi Lovato from the Camp Rock soundtrack. Like in my brain, it was like, "This is real. This is me. This is." I was like, "Oh, fuck.
Yeah, sounds about right." Is this Sam's first time? No, it's his second time traveling through time. Is this his first time having sex? What?
I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
There'd be more death related to Sam's death dick than that. So he knows
nobody died that he fucked in this episode. So that we know of. Actually, wait, let's think about it. Did Sam potentially have any off-screen queer sex with any of these characters that died?
No.
Okay, question asked and answered. Okay, so.
I'm just not getting those vibes from Sam. Sometimes Sam has that energy. I'm not getting that vibe from him this episode.
And I respect that. Thank you. I only had to ask because Beth derailed the conversation once again. Anyway.
Speaking of like queer vibes, we're looking for a man. I'll bet you are. Like the script is so explicit this episode.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, big time. And I think that kind of plays into what Jamie said earlier. Like it from like the early seasons, and honestly, I feel like season 6 as an entirety kind of feels like a bit of a like artistically like a throwback to season 1, like the lighting and stuff, and like the sort of grungier vibe is super prominent.
And the whole like taking an episode concept and really leaning into it, like they took all the music in this episode, the shots, like so much of it is so well designed for this very specific aesthetic. Very season 1.
It's very like, the reason I bring it up is because it's very similar to like, in Something Wicked, they go to the hotel or the motel and like the kid at the front, Dean's like, oh, 2 queens, and he's like, yeah, I'll bet, or like
exactly.
playthings being like, "Oh, are you Antikas?" Like it's the same kind of
Same
question.
thing.
Yeah, or even bugs with them being like, we're open to all, orientations, and it's like, yeah, you're not being subtle.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
The Western cues really fucking killed me constantly.
Mm.
Every
Yeah,
moment
as the
they
only
could.
person, Noah, in this episode who can really like speak to that
It
in
fit.
any sort of like, you're from
Fascinating.
Texas, you're the only one that can speak to like a Western motif in a way that's not just like we know it through pop culture. Like, I'm from the North, like
No, it absolutely tracked constantly the entire episode. The shots that they did, the music cues that they did, it was
they do pull from a lot of classic Western movies.
yeah, no, it was very good. The fact that Dean claims himself as Clint Eastwood, and then he gives Sam Walker. He's a Texas Ranger, which
They were
is
starting on the promo early.
such a wild
This
prediction.
is the Darb Long Con.
I was just going to
The
say
Darb Long Con was Walker Texas Ranger.
the fact that
Did
it's
Dom
dark.
work on Walker?
Oh, wait, no.
Okay.
But
He was
once
setting
you
him
get,
up. He was trying to make sure Padalecki had some work to do after the show ended. I get it.
this is like jokey spoilers that Jamie already knows, but I don't know how much you know. So I'm going to like refrain from answering that question to its full potential. But the point is that like the fact that it's Darb literally sends me. Like
Okay.
it's insane.
Okay.
Pretty funny. Pretty
Okay,
funny.
good. Because just a couple episodes ago, we had a picture of quote unquote Jared in quote unquote real Jared's house where he's dressed up in a Western outfit with a cowboy hat on, and it's just there.
I know that we all joke about like the supernatural dodgeball meme, but have we considered that the supernatural writers room actually like were prophets or like actually
You know what?
Someone in that room.
an H.P. Lovecraft, Eldritch horror.
Someone in
like,
that room is
gifted
psychic.
the sight. So
Someone in
you're
that room is psychic and has figured it out, is figuring it out, only now.
Mhm.
So you're telling me the Supernatural Writers Room is Cassandra Taylor Swift?
Now, why didn't any of us pick Cassandra? Oh, wait, I guess that would have been my room
Because
to
you didn't
do
want to pick
as
Taylor
the one
Swift.
person who
That's why
didn't.
no one picked
Yeah, Noah. Way to
Shit.
call
Okay.
yourself out for that.
Anyway, that part's cut because I know the editor and he's good at it. So
The editor
I-
will make the host look bad, even if the editor is one of the hosts.
correct.
No, I think before you were going to ask if it's Sam's first time travel. Is that what you were going to say before we sort of got distracted?
That is what I was going to say, actually. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Second.
Actually, I think it was his second.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's not his first.
It's not because we've already
Oh.
had the
He met Mary and
flashback
John.
of Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But this is his second time time traveling?
I think so.
And this
I
is
got-
like the first time, like with the time travel that's not like to somewhere in like previously it's to their parents' era. Like there's
Yeah.
still this connection. This is like, no, we're just going to a place for a very specific non-family lore related reason.
140 something years earlier, right? Like
150.
150.
I think the like opening title card says like 48 hours earlier and 48 hours later, 50 years earlier or something, which I actually kind of love that detail. It's very
it's
cute.
so good.
A lot of little things in this episode. Like the music in this episode is fantastic. It's so I like noticed it in half a dozen different scenes where I distinctly was like, I'm enjoying what the music is bringing to this.
And not
Story.
just the music, but the title sequence. They changed
Yeah.
that up for this episode in particular, and I do
Mhm.
love that so much. They
Same. It's
really
one of
are
my
putting their whole ass heart into the remake of this episode.
Mhm.
It's good. I also really like the little, the little moment where they go to the bar and Dean orders a whiskey for himself and he gets a sarsaparilla for Sam because that's a lady's drink in Dean's mind. And then the whiskey kicks Dean's ass as he does it. He's like, whoa, holy fuck. Wow. Okay.
Except with less swearing because it is the CW Supernatural.
Yeah. You
Mhm.
gotta toss it on his head a little bit. And then Sam is like, the sarsaparilla is fucking great. This is
Yeah.
pretty
Because that's just
tasty.
gonna be like a nice little sweet drink, and the
Uh-huh.
whiskey is like, oh, do you want to like kill
Die?
someone? like
Yeah,
Petrol.
that was a fun little.
yeah,
And the quote is gasoline.
Yes, well, that's the Americanization
Yeah.
of petrol. So
It's like real petrol in a shot.
Also about on another like historical accuracies silliness thing, Dean immediately says that he wants to gank someone.
Yeah.
And the guy just goes, gank, what's gank? And which is, to be fair, how I felt about that word prior to Supernatural.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Only show I've ever seen in my life that uses that word is
I
Supernatural.
related
I
to
don't
that
think I've
moment
ever heard any other show.
so hard. I was like, yes, that's me. What the fuck does that mean? Let's elaborate.
I
Please?
literally, only way that I know what gank means is one from Supernatural and two context clues also from Supernatural.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what you're saying.
It's
but honestly,
so-
it's kind of like Half Dean's speech pattern is like context clues.
Okay. Sorry. I just went and like looked up gank because I've never looked it up before. And its origins are uncertain. It originated in the 1980s. It is perhaps a shortening of gangster.
What?
Or a pronunciation of gangster.
Yeah.
But also when you look at it in like the Merriam-Webster like classic dictionary, it is not actually about killing. Like that's not the definition. The definition is like either to rob or defraud or to steal or take. So the idea of like stealing is more of in line with what it is,
Like
which is super
stealing
interesting
their
because Supernatural
life?
literally only uses it in the context of like killing things.
Yeah.
And I definitely thought that that's more what it meant, but it actually means more like to steal or take. The kind of slang way it's often used for kill is like in a video game. Like the slang way that it's often used is like a video game kind of kill.
Like GTA originated a little bit.
Yeah. Anyway, I just went on a little bit of a like.
No, I love it. Like etymology, hit me up.
Yeah,
But like
educational tangents are totally fine. We get it.
Yeah, it's just really interesting.
It's fascinating, like, because now if I heard the word gang, I would associate it with the definition provided by Supernatural. So
Yes.
like they kind of modernized the etymology of it.
They really have.
You know what I mean? Like whichever writer did it first in Supernatural has like completely changed my entire perception on that word. Like that's why.
Yeah.
Which it was a couple of seasons ago at least.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's season 1 or 2. Like I think it's early.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn.
Listeners, if you use gank or you've ever heard it in any piece of media that's not Supernatural, can you like tell us? Because I want to
Please.
know if it is used in other media to mean what it actually apparently means, or if it gets used only in Supernatural.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to do a deep dive into the usage of the word gank in pop culture. We'd love it. Hit us up.
The Supernatural episode that we're talking about today.
I also really loved Dean showing up to, the potential victim's house, knocking on the door and being like, "Candygram for Mongo."
That's such a good impression.
Killer. Who the fuck is Mongo? I don't know what that's referring to, but the fact that he's using the candygram like,
and that worked.
It was so good. He opened the door, so it worked.
Funny. That was actually such a good impression too, Noah. Like that was uncanny.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I googled the Mongo. Apparently, it's a character in Blazing Saddles. So I'm assuming that Dean's referencing there. But what I would like to believe he's referencing is Mongo, the giant gingerbread man from Shrek 2.
Yes, please. That would make so much more sense in our hearts, in our minds, and our
Blazing
souls.
Saddles, Shrek 2.
And
Shrek 2
Shrek-
clearly.
Shrek
Blazing
2
Saddles.
Shrek 2 would have came out in 2004. So like, could be on the brain.
Spotify polls, because I feel like this is a great Spotify poll. Like, what is Dean?
It's a good Spotify poll to
Character
put up
from
there.
Blazing Saddles or Shrek 2. What do you think? Check out the poll in this episode.
I know where my vote is going. No, I'm so sorry. Can I please hear your voice?
Watching both of your reactions to that was priceless.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. What are you apologizing for? That was incredible.
There have been times where in the shower with a prior relationship, they have turned the heat up a little bit too high, and I've said, and they hated it. So
I wonder why.
I couldn't imagine.
That's hilarious. Oh god, okay. That was incredible.
Thank you.
I hope that out as a party trick when people don't expect it, because
every once in a while. And then and weirdly enough, everyone else leaves the conversation. I don't know what's up with that.
Hang out with better people.
Why I'm on the podcast.
We're supposed to be talking about vices.
Yes.
And everyone knows well-known vice is a golem impression. Clearly.
Don't make me include that in the episode. Don't do it, Jamie.
Oh, but it's so good.
So what Dean is counting as an impression of a cowboy as they travel to the past.
How? How does it tie back? If you can explain it.
Because I also think Dean practices it in the shower. You didn't think I could do it, and then I did.
There we go. It stays in.
Okay, no, even if you take it out, we'll know it's there.
We'll know.
Always.
Thank you, Jamie.
You're welcome.
Anyway, vices.
Yeah, they definitely lean to some of the classic, like, stereotypical vices in this episode, like what you'd associate with the Wild West, where you have, like, the drinking and you have, like, the brothel sort of situation, which, to be, like, honest, like, terribly written and handled. Wow, do we not like how Supernatural treats women?
I almost had my big yikes mug with me, and then I finished my coffee and I never have it.
Yeah. Big yikes on that being a way you're showing that particular, like, vice. Like, wow.
What's so interesting for me is obviously, like, drinking is often considered like a massive vice, and the fact that they have Dean drinking in this episode, except for he hates it. He hates everyone. Like, it was going to be so good, and then it's just not.
Yep.
Because it's not, like, about, because I don't know, I feel like the thing with, like, vices is that they're supposed to be, like, things that are, like, you're indulging in and they're bad for you, whereas, like, Dean indulging in this, like, little cowboy fantasy is not really hurting anyone.
No.
The terminology is important.
It can be both.
Fetish / vice.
No, I think that's really interesting, actually. And I think that's, like, especially when you consider the fact that everyone is, like, making fun of him for it as well. Like, it's sort of the kind of thing where a lot of the time things we would typically associate as, like, vices are also sort of like, if you are in a position where they might be considered a vice, it's like maybe it's because you don't just like drinking, you are an alcoholic. And, like, there's an issue there that maybe needs to be resolved. And so, like, it's interesting to see, like, Dean's, you know, like, the vice they're kind of ascribing him is that he likes this fun, silly dress up that he wants to do. And they're like, there's a problem with this, you know? And it's like, well, it's not damaging anyone. Like, he's just having, like, fun. And, but yeah, like, around him, it's just like, it's too much. It's not good. It is socially inappropriate. Like, you know.
The one vice that he does show in every other episode of the show is alcoholism.
Yeah.
And then in this episode, it bites him in the ass and it's too much for him to handle.
Yeah. And no one ever calls out alcohol.
And because he doesn't need it in this episode, like, he's not mentally super unwell. I mean, he's always mentally a little unwell, but he's not like super mentally unwell. He's not using it to cope. Yeah, he's not needing to use a vice to cope. He's, like, actually just having kind of a fun time. And, like, vices are more about the impact than about the actual thing, I think.
Yeah.
We should probably talk about the, like, Phoenix.
Yeah.
And that lore and all that stuff.
I'm so mad that this Phoenix doesn't even look like a bird.
I literally was watching this and I was like,
some visuals.
God,
there's no fire.
I literally was thinking about the dragon thing.
They could have given us some cool visuals.
We could do any sort of firebird motif here. Nope.
Yeah, it's devastating. It's very, like...
They looked at our wish list for monsters, Noah, and went, we're going to do them in the lamest possible way.
Yeah, dragons.
Absolutely.
Like,
dragons
they're just...
disappointed me so heavily.
I knew they would, and I felt so bad when you guys were talking about it, because I was like, oh, they're going to get crushed.
Yes. And then I thought maybe the Phoenix, they'd have him turn into a bird, have him go fire at some point.
Or, like, some sort of, like, I always thought it would be very cool if they made it, like, he could, instead of, like, necessarily, like, flying, like, if he could sort of move around like the demons do, but instead of smoking out, it's like a sort of a fire tornado-y sort of situation. Like, but, like, they don't incorporate fire anywhere except for, like, the killing Ash thing.
Which, like, they just could have done so much more with the visual element of it.
If
Without it actually having to be that difficult. Like, they've done it before.
Fire, you know, special effects aren't that hard to do, in my opinion. I've never worked in special effects for a TV show, so I understand that. But I feel like you could do
Supernatural is not beyond just setting a room on fire and putting their act.
This is the thing. If they had never, if this was like, if what we're suggesting was so beyond like anything they've ever done at this point in the show, then I'd be like, maybe fair enough. But like they've done interesting visual things with monsters to like,
and with fire in particular.
Yeah.
And to be clear, I'm not advocating for them putting their actors in rooms that are actually on fire. They did
Are
do
you
it.
sure?
Saying they have done it before, and they will do it again.
If every time that this phoenix had quote unquote died, they had like a fire effect shoot up from the ground, I would have been happy with that. It didn't have to be really in depth or really like super cool, but he could have gotten hung and then fire shot up and then his body's gone and there's just a bunch of ash.
But at some point, you just got to ask the CW Supernatural's writers, why are you calling this XYZ monster if you're not actually going to give him the traits normally associated with this? Like, why are you calling them dragons if they're not actually really dragons?
Yeah, right. Like, just come up with a different monster.
They barely
just come up with
scales.
a different monster.
And this guy has no fucking feathers.
No wings, no feathers, no real
costuming. Like he's just wearing a black trench coat. Like
he's boring. He's
cool.
He's the anti-cat.
He's kind of a boring, like, unfortunately, like, he's kind of a boring character.
Yeah.
Despite like the fact that there's like you'd think, oh, it's a phoenix, it's gonna be actually so interesting. And it turns out it's just this like creature that has tried to just survive and just got like fucked over.
Yep.
And that's it.
And he's dead, and he's just basically a pile of ashes, just like Grandma is, you know, like
wow, fun.
Yeah,
it was very disappointing for sure.
It's also a shame that, I mean, like, putting aside the fact that Supernatural is a show about they're killing someone every week, you know, it's a shame that they had this character who, like you said, was just trying to live a normal life, and then, like, have a conversation with Dean where he's like, well, you're a monster though, so I still have to kill you. And it's like,
that felt very plot, convenience, because they needed the Phoenix ashes, not because...
You don't have to kill him because he's a monster. You have to kill him because you need his, like, death dust. Like, that's different. Like, your motive is not...
I just need a mug that says death dust.
Like, your motive is not like, oh, you are a danger to the public like it normally is. Like, your motive is, I need something from you that I can only get if you're dead. And like, it, to me, as much as I said, like, I feel like Dean does feel in character this episode, to me, that feels like him, like, rationalizing himself into, like, a morally okay position, you know? Like, so he's better about it. And he's going to be has to kill him, you know?
Absolutely.
And be careful about it. If he does it anymore, we'll start calling him Sam.
Ooh, yes.
And KJ's never to listen to this because she will murder me.
Okay, you know what? We'll block KJ's access to this episode. We can't do that, KJ. It's okay. Go after Jamie. It's okay. Take her down. Anyway, I think we've talked so much about the Western side of this episode, and I think we need to talk about Bobby getting fisted.
I think you're
hard left turn there, but yes.
Hard left. Just as hard as... Never mind.
Okay,
never mind.
Actually, I do want to ask. So, Jamie and I, like, for context, we've just finished season 6. Like, we've finished this season arc. Noah, like, where's your head at? Like, with this stuff, like, outside of the, like, genre of this episode, like, the actual broader, like, scope of things. Like, where's
like,
what are you thinking?
Civil War in heaven and all that shit?
Yeah. I mean, all of it, I guess. But, like, yeah. We're
gonna this episode, and it is Civil War and hell heaven.
Yes.
Heaven relevant.
Okay, so now I think that hell might be involved in some sort of way, just because of Jamie's Freudian slip there. But I think that Balthazar is going to be heavily involved in the finale in some way. I really hope, because I love to see him.
I love him. Sebastian Roche is a delight.
Oh my god,
so good.
And he's gorgeous too. I think that Cass is lying to the brothers in a big way, and we've seen a hint of that in this episode and the last few episodes, and it's kind of unclear where the brothers are headed in their arc in this season, because they're kind of just trying to stay afloat, I think, at this point. point.
Yeah, they're just trying to do anything that will like get them toward Eve. Like they don't have a lot of.
They know that the mother of all monsters is out there, slash, Eve, whatever they call her. But like, I don't know if they really know what they're going towards in this moment.
No, it's not as clear as like the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
Like season 4, it was like stop the seal. Season 5, it was like stop the apocalypse. Season 3, it was like Dean's death. Season 2, it was like Azazel. Like there's been a really clear like they know where the plot's going. This season, it doesn't feel as much like they know where the plot. Seems like Cass knows.
Yeah.
And he's not telling them.
In my recap, I said season 6 is Dean's POV this season, and I stand by that assessment because I feel like Dean, he like is such an audience stand-in this entire season. Because like when he doesn't know what's happening with Sam, like neither does the audience, and so all you get is like POV. And with the broader plot, it's also like the audience doesn't know what's going on, neither does Dean. Like we're being sort of fed his perspective for a obviously like now we sort of have Sam's as well because Sam's like on the level, but especially from like the opener of this season, like you really only have as much information as Dean has, which is super interesting when like a lot of the plot is happening like in heaven where Dean can't see it,
No, I think that's very important to the next 4 episodes. Cannot wait.
I'm really excited to see, based on like where your head is at, Noah, to see how you feel about like how things kind of continue to play out. Because I think it is, this season leaves you in the dark. And I do remember watching this season for the first time, and you don't know where it's going the way you kind of can predict. Like you don't know how season 5 is going to end, but it's got to inevitably end with like the showdown. This season, it's like there's a half a dozen different things it could end with.
Currently, my prediction is
What's your prediction?
And I'm saying this in front of 3 people who know how wrong
and Jamie
I might
actually
be.
knows this time.
This is crazy. I hate this.
We haven't actually had you. I don't think we've done this before where you've been on for an episode where you've like seen the end of the season already because we're so close.
Definitely
it's always
not.
been far enough away that even if you're ahead of us, you're not that far ahead.
I think it's also specifically because season 6 is very much like you don't know anything and then you do. Like it's like all the reveals come very quick in sequence at the
very
end of the
true.
season. So like even previously when it's been like I've been ahead, it's like I haven't actually gotten any of the big season reveals because typically they reserve them for like the season finale. We're not normally that far ahead. So
exactly.
I'll just have my blanket ready to hide behind in case I don't want to spoil something.
Okay.
This is new territory.
So that may have informed a little bit of my prediction in this moment, but I would love to see some sort of showdown between the mother of all monsters and Purgatory in general against the brothers / Bobby, because he's amazing and I love him. And I feel like that's going to happen in the penultimate episode. And then in the actual final episode, we find out that the monsters are on the good side and the angels are trying to exterminate all of the monsters and trying to keep everything quote unquote good. And maybe that includes a lot of the humans because a lot of humans are not good. So maybe they're trying to exterminate a lot of the quote unquote evil stuff from
almost like purity culture.
Yeah.
Like we've got to get rid of anything that could be even kind of
seems very in character for the angels, honestly.
Yeah. And
like the where like thinking about like the switcheroo of like who is good and stuff because like that kind of ties to like Kripke era, like just because they're an angel,
because they're an angel, they're supposed to be good.
Of angels versus
so it'd be cool if they
reverse that on its head to where the angels are actually the bad guys of this season, and you haven't known until the last few episodes,
and you end up rooting for Purgatory.
I'd love that. And I would absolutely die if in the finale of the season it's revealed that Cass is actually swapped to the dark side and he's anti the brothers for the next season. Because I feel like that's going to happen in the next few seasons, and I know that it might be coming up. So,
I know that there's a plot point like this, so I'm going to shove it in wherever I think it even half fits.
Exactly.
Is that how I'm getting this?
This is
like Cass fisting Bobby. We're just bringing back full circle.
So I think that's a good moment to slide back.
This is like
okay, wait.
There are so many characters. They're all going to be evil at some point.
They might be.
It's 15
but
seasons. Everyone's going to have a bad arc.
Bobby killed Rufus, so he's already done his evil moment, you know? So, like, Bobby's not going to be evil anymore from here on out. Bobby's only heavenly and good and amazing, and we love him.
Mostly because Noah will not be able to handle
told
it.
us that heaven is evil, Noah. But if
You're
Bobby
right.
is heavenly, then you're calling him evil.
right,
So yeah,
you're right.
Bobby's still coming to fruition.
I shouldn't have said Bobby is heavenly. Bobby is amazing and wholesome and lovely, and we love him only on this show from here on out because he killed Rufus, and I could barely handle that. So if he kills anybody else that I care about, I'm gonna quit the show. Just kidding. I won't ever quit the show. But anyway, back to Bobby getting fisted. It's fascinating that
Every time we loop back to that phrase.
it's hard, right?
Very
It's not
funny.
my fault. They brought it up in their recap, and
Yeah, it is Jamie's fault.
I think it's Jamie's fault.
And now, Cass has to explain to Dean how he fisted Bobby.
That's
I
not
can only imagine how that conversation went.
Yeah, there's a reason that we skip past that conversation, and it is not on screen.
Yep.
Yeah, because
okay.
you know what? Nobody was having a fun time when they had to explain that.
Nobody wants to talk about how Cass fisted Bobby, but we will multiple times. So
We will just say that phrase
Yep.
so many times till you're uncomfortable with how much you're hearing it.
What's really interesting to me about Cass fisting Bobby is he gives Bobby the like full warning that in fisting him he's risking explosions.
Blowing him up.
Putting your hand into a
And
nuclear
it's-
reactor.
I get that warning when it comes to Cass fisting Bobby, but when Cass fisted Sam and worked out Sam didn't have a soul, there was no warning about the potential ramifications of Cass fisting Sam. So
But the thing is, in this scenario, Dean is at risk because if Cass doesn't fist Bobby, then Dean can't be rescued. So, like, we're in a catch-22 situation right here.
okay, so now Beth,
I
it's
just
just a
find
you.
the retroactively amending law of like, oh, there's actually a risk to fisting people. Really interesting because we don't get that earlier on in the season when he fists Sam to confirm that Sam has or has not got a soul.
I just think that Cass was. I can't.
Gotta say it.
So hard.
You gotta say it.
We should just have a disclaimer at the front of this one, like make this episode into a drinking game. Every time we say
There's a phrase that will show up in the
That's how we
recap
get-
and then show up a lot. Every time
That's
you
how
hear
we
it,
get-
take a drink.
That's how we get vices relevant to this episode. Actually, is we put it on the audience.
We just
Okay.
encouraged
This thing of us.
behavior. Please, nobody make bad decisions based on this episode. Please take care of yourself and
Please
use
drink
substances responsibly.
You might not remember the episode by the time you get to the end.
I love that it's very Sarah Gamble inspired in that it pops up a couple of times in the beginning, and then at the end it goes
Bam,
fucking
bam,
nuts.
bam, bam, bam. You're done. Episode
Okay,
over.
I will more for the sake of everyone else has said it, I will also say it. The thing
Thank
that
you.
gets me about Cass fisting Bobby is the lead up to it. Not only the warning that he might explode and the fact that he never said that about Sam, but also the bit where he puts the belt in his mouth. Something about I was like it was already like invasive and like kind of weirdly phrased and sexual, but the
Because
belt
he has to touch it.
It just really
Wait, what was weirdly phrased in the sexual?
the whole
Oh, I need
situation.
to touch it.
Because it comes off of the conversation where Cass is like, oh, like there is one thing we could try, you know, it involves your soul. And Bobby's like, what do you want? Like to seal it with a kiss? And then Cass is like, I need to touch it. And he's like, touch it? And then it literally goes to him fisting him with a belt in his mouth. I'm like, look, as
Like
long
the
as it's
writers,
sexual.
the writers just like were like, this, we can fit so many innuendos in here. Like, look at this thing. So many.
Slap. We
So
can fit
many.
so many fisting innuendos in this bad boy.
I am so sure that there are so many jokes about this cut from their blooper reel because there's no way they could have gotten away with putting it on the blooper reel, but there's
No
also
way.
no way no one on set made this connection.
Yeah.
Like, surely.
No fucking way.
Surely.
No fucking way.
No, I reckon one of those circumstances in which the gay intern was like, no, I'm staying quiet.
It's
Yeah,
just
this
like
is fine. We'll let this
was
Just
like,
get
if
on
I
with-
say anything, it's getting cut. So I'm just gonna like sit here. I do want to point out, along with this like gay shit stuff, is that at the very end, what the last shot of the episode, is shot of Cass, shot of Dean, clearly looking at Cass, shot of Dean putting on the hat, staring where we know Cass is. Like the line of sight is on Cass. There's this, and he is showing off. He is preening. He is like, it's like we don't get a lot of interaction. We don't get, that's like the only interaction we get between like Dean and Cass in this episode. But it is like so charged with all of the sexual energy Dean has been bringing to this sort of cowboy fetish all episode.
Yep.
And then he directs it all at Cass. He's like, look at me, my hat.
Be proud of me putting this hat on.
Don't I look sexy in this hat?
Don't I look sexy, baby?
Good lord.
I didn't expect to make an Austin Powers reference in this episode because I've never seen it once.
You know, Noah, I've also never seen Austin Powers, and I gotta be real, I didn't expect most of what we've talked about in this episode. So
Can relate.
My one question is, at what point do you start uninviting us from the podcast?
Hey, Jamie? Never.
Like,
never.
see-
You're on every season, minimum at least one time. I'm hoping twice, but we'll see. Depends on how many fisting references we make. Not for my sake.
Less likely to come back if we say more jokes about it or less? I'm genuinely curious.
If I have an opinion, more times. If August has the majority opinion, less times.
No. I know. I know I like to seem like I'm disapproving, but like
It's just
I
because
get
you're
it.
a teacher,
I get
you
it.
have to be responsible, and I can carry the majority of fisting references.
yeah,
So
like, no, and I'm just gonna enjoy them.
Here's I'm so in your same boat, August. I promise.
Yes, I know. Even when I enjoy the joke, I am still going to be like,
Yes.
You made that
August
joke.
Brown
You
and
certainly
Noah
made
and
that
Jamie.
joke.
That's
Hey,
why
Benedict.
it works.
It is why it works.
You've got to have a good balance there between
Yeah.
fisting and
Okay, so moving on.
I mean, I'm not pointing the finger at anyone, but
Oh, okay.
but you're pointing the fist at someone.
Genuinely, do we have other things to talk about this episode? This
I don't
recording is
think
so long. Do we have anything else
I don't think
actually
we
to
have
say?
any non-fisting jokes to make about this episode.
We didn't talk about the I'm a posse magnet.
I thought
Which
about
we
it.
do. We do
Put
just
it on
see
a
a slide our way that
t-shirt.
direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I do love it.
Bisexual.
yeah, he's all about the posse and his boyfriend's all about the fisting. So it works out in the end.
Works out. It's where it works out. I also just want to throw a tiny bit of shade. This is going to be totally sideways, like from this conversation, but I also want to throw some shade at Sam, who leads with "I'm from 2011."
I know.
Like,
Great
why?
choice.
Buddy. Like, what? And it worked? What?
Dumbass time traveler.
Hinged.
hmm
Like, Sam is just like, I'm going to tell the truth, and somehow it's going to work.
He's never
Like-
watched a single episode of Doctor Who, clearly.
He's never watched any fucking time travel movie. He's never watched any movie about the butterfly effect. He doesn't know what it is. He's not even
Never
trying.
heard of it.
Like early season Sam, and he was like really radically for telling everyone the truth, and then had that massive flip where he was like, actually, no, we should lie to everyone. It's like he's just like unflipped that switch, and
Yeah.
he's like, actually, no, I'm just gonna tell you the truth. And honestly, given how much of the first part of the season he spent lying to everyone, maybe he's just in a constant state of flux with this.
I
Maybe.
think that but I think that early season Sam tells the truth because he feels like he really morally obligated to tell the truth.
Mhm.
I
Then
agree.
he stops telling the truth because he's doing shady shit, and he's like, I can't really tell the truth, and also he's sort of just like, fuck it. And I feel like now he's like, especially he's just kind of like, fuck it. Like, it's just sort of like, who the hell cares? Who the hell cares?
Feels bad that he didn't have his soul for so long, that he's trying to make up for that by telling everybody the exact huge truth.
But it doesn't feel like the moral element of it is there anymore. It just
No.
feels like it's sort of like purely strategic. Like, does the truth
Yeah.
make sense? Yes. Okay, then I'm telling the truth. Does a
Yeah.
lie make sense? Okay, then I'm lying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree.
Do you, August, have any more notes for this section?
Yippee-ki-yay, mother bleep. That's the
Yeah.
only one.
Love that
I
point.
like that it's in there a
I
lot.
feel like that's
It's
a big
fun.
confirmation for the Ghost Facers effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
It is.
same with the horseshit and authenticity. I love those
Yes.
moments.
Yes.
They're so well done.
Oh, I just want to point out that the final plot point of like the package that has been sitting around
Yes.
is like ripped basically straight from Good Omens.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Like
so
just
right.
like they were like, wow, they had this as a plot point in Good Omens, so we're gonna just whack it here. And it's really interesting because of course Supernatural, like Eric Kripke, etc., have said like Neil Gaiman's work at large was an influence on it. And you can see the influence on the first 5 seasons. So it's really fun to be like, oh, this is like a very similar sort of plot point.
Literally ripped from the pages.
I also need you guys to know that the reverence they show that package when it arrives is exactly how I feel whenever we get an international package. I like look at it, I'm like, oh my goodness, look at
It's come from so far.
Yeah.
It's come from so it made it here. Yeah, whenever yeah. I also do think that I want to give a little hat tip to the U.S. postal system for getting that package there. That's impressive.
What I do want to know is, I want to know how the fuck they got Bobby's address. Because like Sioux Falls maybe from like the weather app, but like how are they getting the exact address?
Especially if that was one of Sam's burner phones. Like he doesn't have the same phone throughout any season in the show.
Unless the guy's like just knocking on every fucking door in Sioux Falls going, is Sam Winchester here?
Are you?
That's even fun. That's even funnier as an option that they would have given them. It would have said the package would have said, actually, he's in this town, but like find him.
There's no chance that Sam's burner phone would have had Bobby's first and last name.
Exactly. Well, and it wasn't addressed to Bobby either. It was addressed to Sam. And I think what's funny is that, like, I mean, if you want to talk about like the time difference, like back yonder when Samuel was addressing it, you weren't going to be putting like street address and number on the package.
Code?
Like 20 people in the town. Like it goes to the it has a name on it and they'll figure it the fuck out. Like
maybe that's what happened. He may have put Samuel Winchester and delivered at this specific day, and then it just went to the post office and they were like, oh, we've gotten a few packages to Sam Winchester or Dean Winchester at this address.
Well, they've done it with maybe with their real names at this point in the show. That does seem a little like would they be using their
the serial killers?
Maybe Bobby's got a special setup at the post office where he says like, hey, if there's anything for the Winchester boys, send it to me. I got you. I get it. It happens every once in a while. I'm their dad.
Truer words have never been spoken, Noah.
Facts. He's their papa and we get it.
Yep. But to summarize it, plot, convenience while watching Supernatural.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I think that is all we have to talk about. So as we wrap things up, it's time for our favorite section of the episode, which is our character blessings. Who would you like to bless this week? Jamie, do you want to start?
I can start. I think I want to blame.
You can make it a bless or blame situation.
Bless or blame. I think that's honestly, very good.
Bless or blame.
I want to blame the coppers this week for causing this entire situation in the first place, and I want to bless the Phoenix's wife who has now passed away because she was in fact brutalized and killed for man pain. So I think she deserves a blessing.
Yeah, agreed.
That is so valid. I would like to bless Bobby this week, which is not uncommon for me, but no, your silent celebration is so beautiful to me.
You misinterpret my movement.
Yeah, that was Noah being about to fight you because he likes to bless Bobby. That's what that reaction was.
And it's fine.
No, I think it's hilarious that you did it.
Silent, very animated movement, and I assume celebration. I'm so sorry to misrepresent it like that.
It's fine.
So I'm gonna bless Bobby, and my reason being is that man
got fisted for this.
He puts up with so much for those boys. Like, I swear, literally, he has just risked explosion by fisting.
Yes.
And then Sam and Dean come back, and Dean's like, well, we'll just do it again. And it's like, excuse me? No.
Especially considering that moment, they miss it because they're just standing around like basking in the ambiance. Like,
so yes, no, Bobby gets my blessing this week because that man, he's been through enough.
Been through so much.
Truly. Well, I guess I'm gonna bless Cass because
he did the fisting of Bobby.
Because he really did so much. He sent the boys back in town, and then he got the benefit of fisting Bobby, and then he got so tired and he had to take a little nap. And I think that's worth a blessing this week.
That makes him really relatable, you know?
Yeah, because he got to fist
Also-
Bobby.
Sure.
To your point, he didn't make Bobby explode when he fisted him.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of him for
And
not
so
doing
you could have
that.
so easily killed off your favorite character.
By
but he
fisting
didn't.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, by fisting.
What a way to go.
I'm so proud. He
Normal
didn't kill my
explosion, I'm
favorite
assuming
character by
he didn't
fisting
think it
him.
was fisting, but that's okay.
Oh my God.
So proud.
If you were participating in said drinking game and you were holding your liquor, you probably aren't anymore. There was
You know why? Because Cass fisted Bobby.
okay, my blessing today is gonna go to Dean. because-
Surprise, surprise, because his boyfriend fisted his uncle,
Because you
his
left me
father.
no other choice because everyone took everyone else. And also I want to bless him for having a fun, silly little time with his silly little outfit and his little fantasy moment. And it not going totally terribly tragic. I think
I
that's
just
good.
wanted to point out that you said that everyone else had been blessed, but Sam very much was not blessed.
Sam didn't do
Nope.
much in this episode. I that was intentional. I was like, everyone else that I would have considered blessing in this episode. What does Sam do in this episode? He like
At KJ, August said Sam doesn't count.
not in this episode. He doesn't do anything in this episode.
He specifically didn't fist Bobby, and I think that that's a positive for him.
And that's
But
a win.
yep. But you know who did?
Castiel.
Yes, thank you.
August, I'm so sorry.
This is a great episode.
Okay, well that concludes our blessings.
Maybe the title is the Queering Things drinking game episode.
I think something's gonna come to you. I think something's gonna come in the edit. That's just gonna be like,
It's gonna be better than Cass fisting Bobby.
you cannot make that the episode fucking title. I'm
No,
sorry. I
I
have to
won't.
the line.
August,
You
like,
found the
won't.
line.
I draw the
You
line.
found the line.
I think we should call this episode Jamie and Noah Toe the Line. And that's
The one where Jamie and Noah.
I don't want to toe the line though. I prefer to fist the line. Just like just fist the
Yes!
Thank you, Beth, for coming on and providing some great analysis. Thank you, Jamie, for coming on and providing
Thank you, Jamie, for
just
coming
so much
on
for
and providing
Noah.
so much fisting conversation that we could have this entire time. I'm very proud of you. Thank you very much. It was a good time.
This is why we've only let the two of you in a podcast room together once.
I think next episode that we all come on, the question that we'll open with is, have you thought about Cass fisting Bobby since the last episode?
Just no
I'm
context.
so
and
glad.
that's all be every day.
I'm so glad you guys live on the opposite side of the world from each other because
Oh
I
my
think
god, we'd be
same
so
room.
chaotic in the same
you would
city.
the universe is not ready.
Mm-mm.
Like Saturn is not ready for the
The
two of
day
you.
that Jamie and I record in the same room is the day that the world implodes and the same day that Cass fists Bobby. So
Not that I want you to repeat what you just said, but it's devastating that I'm pretty sure Noah just missed it.
I very much want to hear what you just said. I'm sorry.
So I said, maybe not Saturn, but what about Uranus? Bobby keeps on getting fisted back.
And I will pay you money to stop.
I'll pay you money to keep going.
You do understand you don't have any money, right?
The same, but it's emotional money.
Oh, okay.
10 out of 10 episode. I'm sorry. But anyway, thanks to you guys for coming on. It was a great time. Couldn't have had a better time without you.
You're
Because
welcome, and I'm sorry.
nobody else would have engaged in a fisting conversation with me as much as Jamie. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Look, my name is Jamie Commit to the Bit Redacted. So the committing to the bit was always going to be inherently part of it.
And the
And also-
redacted was fisting. Commit to the bit fisting.
Thank you for having us. I'm worried we might not be invited back. Noah
No.
maybe will invite us back. August may not.
Definitely. Now,
I
When
can't.
we move forward, August will just mysteriously be unavailable.
not to suggest that you guys plug your own shows immediately after we've made countless fisting jokes, but do you guys want to give our listeners anywhere to find you on the internet?
So you can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. Subscribe to us there. We're also on Twitter, Discord, etc. I'm assuming you'll put our link tree in the description
Yeah,
Absolutely.
today.
we will,
yes.
as always.
Parentheses
And rest assured,
fisting.
our episode on this episode also contains fisting jokes. So
Yes.
there's plenty to go around.
To be
So if
fair,
you haven't had
way
enough,
less.
if you haven't had enough,
Jokes, so it's not going to live up to the same level of standard or caliber of just the high class comedy of this episode. But we do in fact make that joke as well. So you're not going to be missing out.
Good.
If you're not drunk enough, head on over there.
there's another place you can go.
You can go continue the joke. It's fine.
Or at least one more shot.
Yeah. And then if we can manage to convince the Raising Perdition girls to be on their version of
Oh god.
Oh, what if this is the episode that we all come onto their show for, and then we constantly the entire time
We just
Just
try to
like
recreate
fisting
this.
jokes.
to do that without notifying them of our intentions.
Yes,
first.
it's
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely
okay,
that.
I'll have to add a thing onto the beginning where it's like, and also if you host Raising Perdition, please don't listen to this episode.
You're not allowed because in 2 years, in a year and a half, we have a whole bit planned, and you need to not ruin it.
I
You
love
not
that
ruin it.
We've banned KJ, we've banned the girls from Raising Perdition. It's literally just we're the only ones and Elena who are allowed to listen to this.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
we've
Sarah. Well,
alienated
no,
our half our
not
friend
Sarah.
group.
Meredith.
Meredith and Sarah can come on and listen to this episode.
Right. This is they're like the opposite of what we're supposed to do.
Oops.
We're now gatekeeping.
Mm-hmm.
Nope,
Mhm.
not at all. But we are. But you know who's not gatekeeping?
Well, Cassidy Fist Bobby.
Oh.
August,
Did you?
I think we need to sign a pact. We're not allowed to let these two interact anymore.
I
They've
think
had
that's illegal.
I think I think if this is what supervised visits look like, I don't know that we can do unsupervised ones for a while.
You're so correct.
I can't argue that.
You guys need a chaperone at all times.
Okay, but
I mean,
we've
if
already
there's a-
seen that whenever
one
we're
that I think is
unchaperoned, it wasn't that bad. It was totally fine. We had a bunch of jokes,
We're
but
more chill when we don't have chaperones to torture.
exactly when we can torture people, then we get way more unhinged.
Okay. Well, good to know our suffering motivates you.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Inspiration.
Okay, August, let's close it out. Let's close it
Yeah,
out.
let's close it out. I'm sorry. I got a little distracted because I started making another silly graphic. Oh, my computer has
Yes,
3%
please do. Is
left.
it about fisting?
It is. Unfortunately, I will drop it in the chat
Thank you.
right now, and then we got to be quick because my computer is now at 3%.
Oh shit. Okay, so let's close it out even better than Cass closed out Bobby by fisting him.
Oh my
Okay.
god. Okay, if you want to listen to the rest of our show, you can find it anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you really like it, maybe give us a little rating, give us a little review, share the show with your friends. You can also join our Discord server or follow us on any social media platform. Our website is at queeringthingspodcast.com.
Also out now, we've got the Queering People Saving Throws, our main Queering Things crew, along with KJ of Supernatural Opinions. We take a deep dive into a queer D&D adventure, releasing every other Friday right here on our feed. And personally, let me just say, there's much less fisting in that show. Significantly less.
Be sure to ride along with us next week as we explore Season 6, Episode 19, Mommy Dearest, through the theme of responsibility.
The fact that it's going into responsibility after this fucking episode is so funny.
The key message to take away from this is to fist responsibly. Don't risk an explosion.
Unplanned explosion.
Also, August said responsibility right after I saw the meme that they sent.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have dropped the meme until after we finished because that
meme
was
is iconic.
deeply irresponsible of me. I created a monster.
Their announcement post.
That's just the episode announcement. It's like coming soon on Queering Things.
Yep.
Anyway, thank you for having us. I'm so sorry. Thank you all for coming along for the ride.
And we wish you a peaceful road until we meet again.
Until we fist again.
I knew it was coming. I fucking knew it.